Hello my friends and welcome back to the shop. Today we are talking about a very cool little handgun, a Beretta 9222. It's made by one of the oldest manufacturers in the world, or actually the oldest manufacturer in the world, Beretta. 500 plus years of firearm engineering. This thing has got a lot of really cool features. I don't think it's like any other 22 on the market. I want to bring it down on the bench and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are down on the bench with the Beretta 9222. Now, this thing is pretty cool. There's a bunch of different things, a lot of things that are very similar with this from the 92. As we can see, it's the same size, right? We have a similar geometry. We've got for high cap states, this comes in a 15 round. For low cap states, this is a 10 round mag. And we are free and clear. So what is pretty cool about this is that we got aluminum slide up top. We've got a polymer frame, but it is and it isn't all at the same time. We're going to get into that in a minute. Features all of the same controls, takedown, everything. It's just like a 92. And grip panels, I believe, are a fit, so we can fit new grip panels to this as well. We've got a magazine, push button magazine release here that can be located to the other side. Features a decocker on top that will drop our hammer, right, and it will drop it safely onto the frame. And if we sort of looking around this thing, like I said, similar size, and with the takedown, this is going to operate just like any other 92. Super cool. So if we look straight down into the belly of the beast here, right into the guts of it, what we can see, and let me bring it down. What we can see here is that we've got stainless steel ejector, right? And this, it's a little difficult to illustrate this on camera, but this is actually aluminum. These guide rails are actually aluminum, so this is more of like almost like a pressed in fire control group into a polymer frame. I think that this technology is actually pretty cool. As far as Beretta is concerned, it'd be pretty neat to see a 92 like this. But this thing is pretty cool. So we got our mainspring housing back here, lanyard ring, and a lot of similar features to our straight up normal 92. Up top, the only thing that is a little bit different, it is a little bit different, is the way that this barrel is, the way the barrel sits on here. Obviously, it's not going to be identical to the takedown of the 22 of the takedown of the 92, but it's fairly similar. So when we put this thing back together, there's a few things that a lot of people are talking about with this. There's a lot of information that's out there on this 92. There's a few things that people are talking about, and a few things that people aren't. This comes in the box, ships with one mag. Not a huge fan of that because it's not exactly common. This isn't a very common magazine. It's not super common. I'm not a fan. Right now in this year, it's 2022. Like pretty much any firearm should ship with at minimum 2 mags. It just kind of irks me that we're still shipping auto loading magazine fed guns with only 1 magazine. It just doesn't really feel right to me. But this is going to come actually with 2 front sights. So we got a 3-dot. We have a 3-dot setup on top. We can kind of see it there, and just trying to give you a little bit of a sight picture so you can get an idea. This rear sight's kind of thin, but this is the same dovetail, and that's a dovetail front sight, so you can't swap it out. It comes with 2 sights, so it comes with a lower front sight. But this rear dovetail, something that nobody's really mentioning, is that from what I can tell, this rear dovetail is the same size as a regular combat sight. That is cool for the people that really want to mount an optic to this. So if you want to mount an optic here, I believe that what you can do is we can drift out the sight, and we can drift in an optic mounted optic mounted plate on the back of that. That to me is very cool. And it just these are still driftable, so we can adjust for windage here, windage in the back without a problem. Actually, what I just noticed while I was looking at this is what we can see right on the top, right on the top of that front sight there. We can see a number 2. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. You can just see that. Okay, so you can just kind of see that number 2. That number 2 on the top there is kind of cool. So zooming back out, something that nobody else is really talking about with this that I think is super important is that is aftermarket holster support. I mean, guys, you can go to the end of the world and back with holster support on this. There's no a set of circumstances where you would want to carry this that you can't find a holster setup for. I think that's super cool. The other thing I really want to make sure is pointed out and driven home today. Such has actually got Such actually mentions this in a video of his. But this magazine well, I know that's kind of difficult. I'm going to try and bring this light down so that we can really see. So Such mentions this in one of his videos. I've got this light right in here trying to illuminate this mag well. Let's see. Yeah, I know that's a little harsh, but what you can see, actually we'll use that because that's not bad. What you can see is that you can see these kind of like, you can see these polymer rails, right? Because it seems like this is really a full size sort of mag well here. Those polymer rails make it so that this thing just, I mean, it falls. With this nice big magazine pad on the end of it, this thing just falls in. I mean, I'm kind of trying to like mess it up here. You know, I guess if I get it really twisted, but it has a little bit of a magazine well kind of already built in just with the way that this thing feeds. I was really impressed by just how quickly it seems like you could perform a magazine reload on this. I think that this is just a really cool design for a 22. Everybody wants to talk about the new SIG 322, and this thing I think is actually just a really cool 22 option. Most of the 22s that we're gonna see, everybody wants some kind of suppressor, a threaded barrel for a suppressor, or some kind of rail down here for a light. With 22s, to me, I think that this is just a nice, a cool way to get some training in, or maybe do some holster work. If you're an avid 92 guy, you can use this to do some holster work, and I think it'd be really cool. So these aren't actually made. An important note is that these actually aren't made by Beretta. This is made by Umarex, and it's licensed. And I think Umarex is doing the manufacturing, but it's still got a Beretta tag on it. So Beretta's warrantying it's not licensed to Umarex to sell. It's still being sold as new by Beretta. So, but it's just interesting to note that they're not. It's an interesting fact to me that they're not the ones that are actually doing the manufacturing. That Umarex is the one that's doing the manufacturing on these. I think that's okay. I mean, Umarex is a huge. Umarex makes a lot of great gear and owns the Walther Corporation. So I don't really see a problem there as far as the quality delivered goes. This, I'm sure, is still going to live up to the quality, and at the price. Now YouTube is getting kind of weird about pricing, but this is you're gonna have to exit out of this window and then and open another page and just check out the pricing on this, because these are pretty affordable. They're pretty aggressively priced, and I think having something, like I said, with kind of this very familiar control, simple controls, familiar sight picture, is a very straightforward takedown procedure. There's just a lot of pros here to something like this that I think is cool. I think is very cool for rimfire handgun. I can't say that this is going to be. I can't say for everybody. I talked to a guy, happened to run into a dude in the shop who bought one of these, and he said that he was using a bunch of, he said he was having success running a bunch of different ammo through it, and I can't say necessarily if that's true or not, but that was his experience, and I thought that it was credible and worth reporting that he had lots of success with different ammos in this, because most of the semi-auto stuff is they definitely want a high velocity, looking for high velocity cartridge. I don't know what Beretta wants you to do, but I know that he was having success with multiple cartridges. Okay, so that is an overview on this really cool Beretta 9222. Like I said, I think the market is the market is kind of quiet on this thing. I think everybody's kind of asleep here, because this is a really cool rimfire option, and like I said, very affordable rimfire option. It's got a lot of interesting features and aftermarket support that I think are going to be huge here, and especially, like I said, something that not a lot of people are talking about is holsters. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. If you liked the video, If you think that this little 22 is punching above its weight as far as price goes and where it's supposed to be, you let me know in the comments and subscribe to this video. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I'll catch you in the next one.